Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pacific War Channel. I'm joined here by, well, actually, it's a father and son, both Mr. Johnsons. How are you today?
M- Man, I'm
Fantastic.
Ranger Johnson. Mr. Johnson, that's my dad. He's 86 years old. I'm Ranger. That's
There
my
you are.
son, Gino.
Ranger Johnson and
Gino, my
Gino
son.
Johnson.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's
Yes, sir.
a pleasure to meet both of you. And of course, you're representing Champions for Veterans. So I guess there's no better place to start than please tell us your story. Where does this all begin?
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna lead on that one since I'm a little bit older than my son, and I'll let him come in afterwards. My background, I love to tell a story, man. I'm a country boy from East Texas, Northeast Texas. Grew up not too far from Shreveport. I grew up on a dirt road, hauling hay and cutting pulpwood. I tell everybody I grew up in a town. The population was 112 when I grew up. As a matter of fact, I was just there for Mother's Day seeing my mom. They've grown by three. The population is 115 now.
Wow.
I saw that going through the town. Yeah, 115. But anyway, I joined the Army, Craig, because I tell everybody, people say, well, you joined for the wrong reasons. Man, I grew up holding head and cutting pulpwood, and a recruiter told me I would get a check every month. And he said, as a matter of fact, if you do 20 years, you'll get a retirement check. I said, what? Sign me up. Because I was 17 when I joined, and I said, I didn't know anybody in my family getting a retirement check at 37.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
so I joined for the money.
Yeah.
I joined for the money and enjoyed it. Did 20 years, had a chance to do. I tell everybody, man, I live my dreams. Jump out of planes, becoming a Army Ranger. Special Forces, Green Beret. As we were talking before we got started, I was in Berlin, Germany in 1982 to 84
Yeah.
with the Berlin Wall was there. Right. And Berlin is 110 miles inside of East Germany with the wall around it. And I can remember at night, we would hear the East German soldiers fire machine guns, shooting anybody who tried to cross over into to West Side.
Yeah.
So it was fascinating, right? But when I was there, I tell people you got to have a mentor. You got to have people to guide you. One of my first platoon sergeants was, in his own words, Sergeant Higgs, the old redneck from East Tennessee. And I wanted to go be a Special Forces Ranger then. He said, no, son, you're going to go be a drill sergeant. Because when you're a drill sergeant, you're going to learn how to write programs, how to communicate better. And he went and got the paperwork, and he volunteered me to go to drill sergeant school. So I graduated U.S. Army Drill Sergeant School at the age of 21, which is crazy when I think about it
Pretty,
now.
yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was 21 when I graduated drill sergeant school
Yeah.
and started this journey, man, to learn how to communicate better, write programs. And I think about what my son and I, what we do with Champions for Veterans. And I can definitely say, had it not been for Sergeant Claude Higgs guiding my career and telling me to go do that, I doubt if we'd be here today because that taught me how to write, how to teach, how to communicate even better. So I left there, went to the Ranger Battalion, 1st and 75th Ranger Battalion in Savannah, Georgia. Left there and became a Green Beret. Did 11 years in the Special Forces. And by the end of my career, when I got ready to retire, I retired as an E8, first sergeant, but I hurt my back early in my career. Um, and I would have done, I tell everybody, I did 20, but I would have done 32 years if my back had held up. I did
Oh,
not want to get out at 20. I loved the Army. I enjoyed putting my uniform on. I love being Special Forces Green Beret, one of the best in the world. So it wasn't nothing about that job. I said, oh, this is terrible. It was great. It was great. I just got to the point physically I couldn't do it anymore. Right? It's just like a pro ball player. You get to the point you just can't do it. You're in your mind, you think you can, but you can't. And that's where I got at the end of my military career. Fast forward, retired in 2000. When I retired at the age of 37, I could barely walk to the mailbox. My back was that jacked up. Degenerative disc L5S1. And I was in bad shape. Went to the VA. And, when I came out of the VA, Salisbury, North Carolina, July of 2000, they gave me 10% disability. And that's nothing.
Yeah.
After 20 years, 120 jumps out of planes, and I got 10% disability. And I always tell people, the Bible says, be angry, but don't sin. I don't think I've ever sinned against the VA, but I'm still angry. Right? Why
Understandable.
did a guy like me that served my country, did what I was supposed to do for 20 years, and didn't get any benefits with 10%? It was
Yeah.
terrible. And it started this crazy journey that took me 17 years to go from 10% to 100. I didn't get to 100% to 2017,
That's, oh my God. Yeah, that's
right?
insane.
And so I got there. I write and publish books, and what I tell people, when I got to 100%, I sit down. I'll never forget. January 2017, I got there. That week, I sit down and wrote the course that my son and I delivered as vets all over the world now, and I wrote it out of anger. I didn't write it out. I said, wait a minute. They can teach you how to fly a plane, drive a ship, fire any weapon, do an operation, brain surgery. They train you on that in the military. There has to be a training program on how to get VA benefits. So
Yeah.
I wrote it. So I just wrote the program, not to start a business, not to do what we're doing on a podcast with Craig all the way up in Quebec, Canada, right? Right? I didn't do that to be talking to you, brother. I did it out of just my pain and wanting to help people. Well, funny thing happened. The first 20 people I helped locally, 10 of them got to 100%. I'm like, what? You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
during COVID, my son calls me and he'll tell his background in a minute. He's that corporate guy, CPA and all that good stuff. And it's a father-son conversation. Dad, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting right here. I'm helping vets get their VA benefits. You know, my son's a civilian. He was never in the military. He didn't know anything about VA benefits. He says, what is that? I said, well, it's this, and you help vets get the benefits, and they can take care of their family. They get money and medical benefits. And 5 minutes into the conversation, he says, well, Dad, we can make that an online course. Of course, I said, I don't know, son, because I'm thinking I had to do it. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll drive. So he drove from Atlanta, Georgia, 7, 8 hours, came here to South Louisiana, sat right here in the room I'm in now, and showed me how we would make this an online course. And this was 2020, right? And getting ready to start. We was in the middle of COVID. And at that time, he goes back. And that didn't scare me, Craig. What scared me, a few weeks later, he called and said, Dad, I'm quitting my job. Hold on,
Whoa.
brother.
Yeah.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I mean, you're a CPA in corporate America making, high six-figure money.
Yeah.
And I'm a country boy from East Texas, Craig. I didn't know too many people like my son growing up as a CPA at a major company and making money. And I tell everybody, I would not have quit my job to do this. I didn't have that. Right? Because, in quote America, he made it. He'd gone to college, got a master's. I mean, he's in a corporate position. He's making good money. Quit your job, right? And I can tell you right now, it scared the mess out of me because I told him, whether Champions for Veteran makes it or not, I ain't gonna lose my house. I'm not gonna lose my car. I'm already retired and I got my retirement check coming in. And ain't nothing over here gonna go missing. But that's something different. And on July the 23rd, 2020, it was official. We started CFV. And we had no website, no business cards, no proof that we could do anything other than a few old vets I helped around town that got their benefits. Let me tell you what we did have, though. We had passion, we had drive, we had commitment, we had that bulldog tenacity that when you bite into something, you don't let go. And we had belief. And when we came on a Zoom call with veterans, I said, listen, no, we don't have a website. Don't have it. Don't have business cards. Don't have it. But let me tell you what we got. We got a method to help you get your VA benefits. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. They believed it. Right? People always wait till they get everything right to start anything. Well, you just can't do it in life like that.
Yeah.
And so if you look at how we got started with no big proof, no big anything, no backing, but now we're bringing on brand new coaches and we're doing this thing. And I'm gonna let my son take over. And I tell everybody this because of him. I know dads like to brag about their kids. I get it. I guess I'm one too. But he's a genius. And the reason he's the CEO of the company, because I didn't have the guts to quit anything to do it. And I will tell you straight up, I would not have quit my six-figure job to do this. No way in how I would have done it. But he did. And that's why he's the boss. Go ahead, son. I'm gonna let you take over from here.
There you are.
Wow, man, I'm telling you, he brings a passion, and I love it. I love it, and I appreciate that, pops. And I love what we get to do every day. But to kind of take it back, myself, take you back to my experience growing up, of course, with my dad, Green Beret Ranger Johnson, who has always been this passionate motivator, man. And he retired when he was 37. I was 12, and I'm 37 right now. So it's funny when I think about that time. I'm like, man, to be where he was, where his back was hurting like that, you know, uh, I'm the same age, and I couldn't imagine. And I'm grateful that we get to do this to help vets just like him, who have families that they're trying to support, who really want to make it happen. And we've been able to change so many lives. And I think that's really where it comes down to for me, for my passion and why I'm doing what we do at CFV. I did spend 9 years in the corporate world doing accounting and doing what we do now compared to keeping the books in shape. It's no comparison, man. When you hear people tell you that, man, my life was changed because of what you're doing, quit my job that day in 2020, it's always been worth it, man. And I'm grateful for everything we've been able to do. But like my dad said, he retired and he had his back injury and he was doing, he was going through it. And I saw it as a, 12 to, in my teenage years, I played football and, in our family, we loved to be hands-on. We would wrestle, we would play around. And I remember times when my dad, his back was in such bad shape, he had to kind of lay out and just
Yeah.
say, hey, I can't really do much right now. I'm hurting. And, I knew it was because of his service. But what I didn't know is that he could have gotten benefits for that and he wasn't getting them. And our
Mm.
family would have been in a very different position had he gotten his benefits when he retired in 2000. The medical benefits he would have gotten, the financial benefits would have helped us to be in a much better position. And, our lives would have been very different. And on top of that, when I went to college in 2006, I went to Ole Miss. My tuition would have been taken care of, and I ended up
Yeah.
with getting my bachelor's and master's, $60,000 or so in student loans that I ended up thankfully paying off and really sacrificed to be able to do that. But to know, wow, like my dad could have because of his service, we should have been taken care of, but we weren't. And so I love the fact that we get to have conversations with other parents and who are like, man, my kid's gonna go to college for free because of you guys. And so it's an amazing thing. But yeah, got my bachelor's and master's in accounting, got out of the corporate world, went into the corporate world, did auditing, ended up working for a big company out here in Georgia back in 2015, and worked for them for 5 years as an accountant and internal controls guy. Was a supervisor before I left. And so back in 2020, when me and my dad were talking, it was really a pivotal moment for me because I've always kind of been entrepreneurial. My dad's also been a big part of that. After he got out of the military, he didn't say this, but he became a motivational speaker. He's written books. I'm sure he'll show you his books. And so he's been motivating and helping kids. He was helping a lot of kids throughout the state of Mississippi, motivating, encouraging, teaching them so many things. And I saw that growing up. And before I ever got a job, my dad encouraged me to go start a lawnmower company, cutting grass around the neighborhood back when I was in high school. And I came to him, I said, I wanted to get a job like my classmates and go and work for McDonald's or something. He said, why do you want to go and get a job and work for McDonald's? Go start cutting some grass. And my dad gave me my first business loan by buying a lawnmower from Walmart. I think it was about 300 and something dollars, $380, I think. Remembering those numbers is funny. And I had to pay him back for my income from cutting grass, and that's what I did. So I paid him back after maybe a few months, and I was able to make about $1,600 one summer cutting grass, which, knowing everything I know now, I should have put it in the stock market or something, but I bought some. I bought some video games and food with that money. But it taught me really what I did get from that was, man, you can go and start something and build something, not have any experience here. I mean, of course, I was cutting grass, cutting our grass, but knocking on doors, meeting with potential customers, knowing how to do sales, knowing how to build something and really add value to people's life. And that's something I've always kind of been passionate about ever since. And so I started entrepreneurial journeys all over. I did stuff in college, entrepreneurial. And so I knew kind of at that stage in my career back in 2020, I was at this point where I was really wanting to go out and do my own thing. And although I didn't know exactly what it was, I knew I was ready to go and do something outside of work in the corporate
Mhm.
world, which, has its pros and cons. But I'm telling you, nothing like starting your own thing and building something that you really are passionate about. And so when my dad and I were talking back in 2020 about what he was doing with VA benefits, I had already been familiar with the online education industry, and I knew it was a growing industry, and I knew that there was so much value you can add to people when you teach people online something. And to know that my dad, when he was explaining VA benefits to me, it was like, man, this is a huge gap because you mean to tell me that veterans and their families can be going to college for free, their kids can go to college for free, they can get health care, they can get monthly paychecks, and every veteran doesn't know how to get their benefits, and millions of vets aren't getting anything, and there's a knowledge gap here. I mean, we can start an online course and help a lot more people. And so had no idea about how this operated and how it will work. But I said, you know what, we're going to figure it out and we're going to do it. And I knew my dad as a motivator, as an educator, would be perfect to head it as the master trainer, and I could build everything on the back end. I could figure out how to build a website a little bit and put systems in place because I was doing that in my corporate world, and I knew how to work finance. I knew how to deal with cash flow. I've seen multiple businesses as an auditor. I knew you can go out here and do it well. And I'm grateful that we've been able to do it ever since. And after about 5 years, almost 5 years in a few months, um, we've changed so many lives, thousands of veterans we've been able to support. I mean, just had a call this morning with a guy who just got 100% for our
Wow.
coaching, and it's just about every week we're having those kind of conversations of people are saying, man, you guys changed my life. I'm so grateful for what you guys have done. And I love it. I love it so much. So I'm grateful to be a part of it.
It's incredible to hear. And right off of the bat, I think, I myself, I'm a Canadian, but I'd say I'm very knowledgeable about a lot of things involving the military in the United States, especially veteran affairs. My grandparents served in World War II, for example. One of them was at the Veterans Hospital. That's actually not too far from me. It's still there, but residency is pretty low now. But anyways, I think it's incredible that the United States, like you said, you had to design courses just to show the all of them how to just approach this. It's that complicated as a system, I imagine, and they don't know all the services that they can, that they can receive. So just kind of you're promoting the awareness of this as like the first part of this. It's I mean, it seems insane for somebody who doesn't live in the United States to think of this because in Canada, of course, we actually get commercials from our version of the VA. Go to your local office, see what we can do for you, et cetera, et cetera. But I guess in the United States, it's a little bit more complicated.
Well, we get the same commercials.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to help veterans. Da, da, da. We
Yeah.
get those same commercials, and it's great. Looks good, looks great.
But
But the
how do you
reality,
go through it? Yeah.
yeah, how do you get to it? It's like I tell people. My son. I can remember when he was in high school. I would walk in his room, and he'd be listening to music, watching TV, doing trigonometry. And for him, it was pretty easy. And he would show me a trigonometry problem, and I'd be like, make sure you get all the answers from your teacher before you come home.
Ah,
Because I can't help you, right? Looking at that trigonometry, I can't help you. So what I tell people, if someone show you the steps
hmm.
and take it and make it simplify it, put your left foot here, put your right foot there. It's still a complicated process. But with CFV, Champions for Veterans, we give you the answers to the test.
Exactly.
And I love telling a story like this. I mean, it's no secret. I wasn't a good student in high school. For various reasons. But hey, if I'd sweet talk the prettiest girl in school, Craig, and I'm sitting next to her for the test, and she kind of sliding her paper over there. I'm looking at it. I'm not nervous if I know the answers to the test. I'm not nervous at all because she's showing me the answers. Matter of fact, I'm pretty bold. A, okay. Number five is C. Got it? Yeah. All right. But if I were to walk in that classroom and there was a pop quiz and the teacher said, everybody get in different corners, oh my God. You talk about nervous because I know I didn't study and I know I'm probably going to flunk the test. That's VA benefits.
Mm.
If we show you this is how you approach this, this is how you approach that, these are the regulations for this is how you fill this paperwork out. We take away the nerves, we take away the doubt, we show you this is how it's done. It doesn't mean the system is less complicated because it's not.
Mhm.
It's not less complicated, but we hold your hand the whole way.
Yeah.
And what I teach people all the time, veterans are not dumb. We're not stupid. I serve with some of the most intelligent people in the world. I mean, you're on the Special Forces A team. Are you serious? I mean, guys are absolutely brilliant, speaking two or three different languages, learning all these different skills. Some pretty impressive people when I look at my life now and some of the guys I serve with. So we're not stupid, but we do need some training. We do need to know the how-tos. And what I love about what my son did, I had doubt, and he was like, and I asked him, I said, well, what do I need to do? He's like, Dad, just do what you do and just sit in front of the camera and teach. Well, I'm a really good communicator. I mean, if you tell me all I got to do is sit in front of a camera and teach and put a PowerPoint slide together and show you how to do it, that's what I do. And the great thing about that is the lives we change. I want to tell a quick story because we help tons of people, right? One of the first people I helped live in South Louisiana. I go to a local school district as a motivational speaker, and I had to go to the main office to pick up my check for speaking to the students. And I go to the office, and while I'm in there, I had one of my hats on, said Ranger, of course, got to advertise everywhere you go, Craig.
Yeah.
Got to advertise.
Of
Huh?
course.
Yeah. So I'm in there, and a lady, Miss Pam, meets me. She says, you can come back here, Ranger Johnson. I want to get the paperwork for your check. No problem, ma'am. I'm coming. I sit in her office. About 10 minutes in the office, she looks at me. She says, do you know anybody can help? My husband's a Vietnam vet, and he's jacked up from Vietnam. Now, I'd only helped at that point two people. It's not like I was as confident as I am today. I helped two people get their VA benefits. But I looked in this woman's eyes and I said, Miss Pam, I have your husband, John, call me. So he called me, and they're local. I went by their house about a week later. And when I got over there, Craig, this will blow your mind. John had been going to the VA for 50 years after Vietnam. 50 years. On their kitchen table, all of his medical records were in a FedEx pouch this thick on the kitchen table.
Mm.
And John had PTSD so bad, he wouldn't look at you, he would look through you.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting there and you knew he wasn't there. You're talking to him, but he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And we started that night, and I'll never forget, they walked me out on the porch, and I looked at him. And man, I'm scared. I'm not going to sit there like, I was so confident I could help him. I wasn't. I just wasn't. I knew I had more information than they had at that particular time. But before I got in my vehicle, I told Mr. John, I'm not only going to help you, I'm going to help you get 100%, which is pretty bold because he was at 10%.
Oh my God.
I went back and we kept working, and we got him to 100% in a few months. Miss Pam was able to leave her job and go be with him at home. Well, he lived for 4 more years, and then he passed away. Miss Pam called me to the house for the service. He died October the 2nd, 2022, and she told everybody, had it not been for Ranger, I wouldn't have been able to come home and be with John. I was able to be with John for 4 years because I was able to leave my job and be with him because he got Ranger got John to 100%. See, that's a real story
Yeah.
with real people. And I have a good time talking about it. I know I'm motivational, but when I talk about the real lives that we change, that's CFV. And now my son has come up with other ideas, and I want him to talk about those and how we can help even more people and giving them value. Good.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I mean, yeah, amazing story. So, but yeah, like my dad was saying, I'm all about how can we help vets at scale, as many as possible. We have technology, which I'm grateful for, internet, you got YouTube, you got our course, you got so many ways that you can help people. And of course, one of the ways that we decided to help folks last year, really a few years ago, the idea came to start an app to make the process way easier for vets. I mean, of course, we have the educational part of it, but the app VA Claim Builder is all about walking a veteran through the process of building their statements. Now, many people don't know how important it is for a veteran to tell their story when they're putting together their claim. Believe it or not, you can have medical records from the military. You can have current medical records. You can have even potentially images of your injury from the service, submit a claim, and still get denied. We've seen it happen where folks have actual medical records from the military showing it this is from the military. I'm dealing with this, and they still don't get their benefits. And can't tell you why that can happen, but what we do know is that when you tell the full picture of your story, current records, even if you don't have military records, putting together a statement that walks through, hey, this is what happened to me when I was in the service. This is how this injury has impacted me ever since on a day to day. And even third party statements from buddies, people who actually saw you go through the thing you went through that you're dealing with now from the injury. Those pieces of evidence are so critical. And we even had a former undersecretary of the VA on one of our coaching calls who seconded this. Having a statement put together by you, by buddies, is huge. And so we put together VA Claim Builder to make that step easier. So basically, what VA Claim Builder does, you go to that website, www.vaclaimbuilder.com. You can go through the process of going through the VA regulation. We ask you questions so you can put together answers to that, talking about what you did in the service, how the thing that you did in the service led to the injury, how you're dealing with that on a day-to-day now. And it pretty much takes that information. We even use AI that you can use to make your statement a little bit better, put it into a Word document, export that, and sign off on it and submit it with your VA claim. And even send emails over to people who your buddies could be folks you serve with, could be your spouse, people in your family now, or friends, your pastor, anybody you want to send that over to, who can also put together their own statements and submit that up with you as well, and submit it with your claim. Now that is just a critical part of the process. And yeah, we wanted to put together that app to make it easier. Another key part of the app is pulling in the VA regulation, because it's not just telling your story, but it's also speaking the VA's language. So you don't just say, I hurt my knee. You talk about the level of injury of your knee. Was it a sprain? Was it at a level where you had to get surgery? How significant was that injury? And we give you the wording from the actual VA regulation that ties to what you're dealing with. So then you can put it all in so that the person reviewing your file at the VA can not only give you the rating that you earned, but make sure it's at the right level based on the significance of the injury in regards to the actual regulation. So put that together, went live Veterans Day last year, November 11, 2024. And it's been out there ever since. We've been able to, I think we have over 300 veterans currently using it right now, and it's steadily growing every day.
Wow, that's incredible. And I was curious, what are the most common pitfalls you see when individuals fail to get services with the VA? All those guys that you're talking about that just received that 10%, what are the major pitfalls that you usually see with them?
Yeah. One of the major pitfalls is just like my son talked about not knowing how to put it together,
Okay,
not
yeah.
knowing, right? An example would be uh, I'm a great example. I did 20 years in combat arms for 20 years. I never went to combat, but I served in infantry, Ranger Battalion, Special Forces. You don't go to the hospital. You don't go to sick call in these units that are high testosterone. I mean, you don't go on sick call. Why? You're not going to be a wimp, right? Put some salt on it, wrap it up, let's go. Take a Motrin, drive on. That's what everybody teaches you. So you're not gonna, get hurt and hey, I'm sick, I gotta go see a doctor. You're not gonna do it. It just doesn't happen. So after 20 years of service, my medical records were so thin. I think I had a sprained ankle in there, something. I had nothing in my medical records. So in my mind, I can't get VA benefits because I don't have anything in my medical records. I didn't understand the stuff that we teach. Hey, if you have a rating or now if you're a combat vet, the PACT Act says you can go to the VA and they got to give you a VA doctor. Yeah, even if you went to combat, don't have a rate, get to the VA. With the PACT Act, they got to give you a VA doctor. So now you start billing your case, and that's what we teach you how to bill them from just being honest. You know what I tell people, Craig? I could help more veterans. We could help more veterans if we wouldn't lie. We lie a lot. I was the biggest liar ever. Veterans don't lie. Yes, we do. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't have any problems. I don't have PTSD. Oh, this is one I love. Give it to someone who needs it more than me. Who's
Wow.
going to take care of your family? Okay. I mean, and when I hear a veteran tell me that garbage, and I said it right there, that garbage, I go, wow. So you're trying to make sergeant or lieutenant or captain in the military, and you went to your boss and said, sir, give that promotion to Craig Watson. His family needs the money more than me.
Yeah.
I've never met a person to do that. But see, we say all kind of crazy stuff. And every time I have a vet say something crazy to me, Craig, I call them out on it. I say, stop it. Stop the nonsense. You serve your country. These benefits are for faring well. They're not welfare. Okay. And so what I tell everybody, if I could get you to tell 100% of the truth, we could help you.
There you are.
Right?
There you are.
I mean, stop the lying, vets. Quit lying. Just tell the truth, you know? And if you tell the truth, let it sit right there. And now we can start to help you. I mean, I had a vet the other day. I'm doing a review with him, and we're talking. Well, I didn't do this. And then he starts to share more stuff that he did. He was loading ships in the Navy as like a military police type of guy, checking for drugs. And I'm like, you don't call that combat? I said, y'all have live ammo when you boarded the ship. Yeah. Was it a possibility of you being shot when you boarded the ship? Yeah. Oh, and one of the ships we boarded had drugs on it from this country, and we had to get off of it, and they told the Navy SEALs to go on it. Oh, and you don't think that was dangerous? Well, come to think of it, I guess it was. See, we tell ourselves a bunch of stories that it's not that bad, and I go, well, y'all just stop. And so one of the biggest reasons that we veterans, I put myself in it, don't get our VA benefits is we tell a bunch of stories that are just not true. Okay. And if we could just tell the truth, man, we could help more people. So to me, that's the biggest pitfall. Us, me.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Craig from the Pacific War Channel. Please don't forget to check out my YouTube membership or my Patreon account over at www.patreon.com/the Pacific War Channel, where you can join the ranks and gain access to a hell of a lot of goodies. At the base minimum, you get access to the exclusive monthly podcast, early access to all of my content, voting rights for what subjects I will tackle next, and at higher tiers, I have much more goodies to come. So please click that link and check it out.
And I'll add on to that. I mean, to sum up what my dad said, a lot of it is mindset, right? And I was talking to a vet a few weeks back, and he was really frustrated. But when he submitted a claim, he had submitted one claim, and he pretty much just gave them their information, and pretty much expected the VA to just honor it one of those situations where he had military medical records, submitted a claim, and didn't get his benefits. And there could be a lot of frustration from that initial denial, right? You can maybe leave, oh, I can't reapply, or they don't care about me, they don't want to give me my benefits, even if I do try, right? And so there's it's kind of getting past a lot of that mindset, a mistrust of the VA, which I understand. If you don't trust the VA because they're not giving you benefits you deserve, then you can mistrust it and just decide I don't want to go after it anymore anyway. Um, so much of it is getting vets in the right mindset. These veterans, these benefits are yours. You need to go after it. You need to tell the truth and be honest. You need to tell the whole story and just trust the process after you've done everything you need to do. And if they deny you, reapply. Because is it worth a couple years of you fighting for the rest of your life to help you and your family? Absolutely. And it's interesting when people tell me, "Oh, I don't have time to go after my VA benefits." When it's like, well, say if you're in your 30s, you could live another 40 years. What's a couple months of you just working hard and putting together your stuff, going to your appointments, getting it done for the rest of your life? It's one of the most the return on that investment is probably more significant than anything else you're gonna do the rest of your life at that point.
Yeah, it's simply incredible. I wouldn't even consider the mindset being kind of at the forefront of this, thinking that you don't want to take a handout, that kind of mentality that somehow you haven't earned this in some way. That's it's incredible. I can't imagine the thousands, tens of thousands of individuals who put in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
So
When
your
you think
ranger,
about it, I'm sorry,
your
go ahead.
your ranger method. I'm curious. Are there other organizations that are similar to you guys that do anything on the same level or any similarities?
I mean, there are a lot of organizations out here that do stuff and help people get VA benefits. I mean, just like anything, you got a lot of coffee shops in your in your town. You
Exactly.
got more than one coffee shop, of course. Uh, when it comes to, of course, we believe in what we do because we've had so much success with it, and because we have so many people telling us we bring value to them.
Yeah.
So, I don't down any organization at all out here trying to help vets get their VA benefits at all. Of course, I tell people all the time, if you don't toot your own horn, ain't nobody gonna come get in your vehicle. Right, right. I mean, so I'm about tooting our horn and what we provide and what we
Absolutely.
do. And it's also about the testimonials, right?
Yeah, of
When
course.
you when you look at the testimonials of other people and the lives we've changed, um, and let me just say this to veterans out there that may be thinking about, or should I move forward? My son hit on it. If you're sitting here at 40 years old right now, 40 years old, and the reality, say you're getting no money from the military, from the VA, you believe you deserve this income. I've had combat veterans at 10%.
Yeah.
Combat vets at 0%. I mean, with a couple of tours of Afghanistan and Iraq, not getting any money, right? And I think most people would agree that if a guy served in combat, he probably deserves 100% just by
Absolutely.
serving in combat. I mean, most people common sense would agree to that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? So that's $4,050 a month if you're married right now, right? Times 12. And when you think about that, let's see, 4,050
Right.
times 12, all right, $48,600
Yeah.
tax free per year. Now, it's really going to blow your mind. So, if you're a 30-year-old vet and you're sitting there, you're a combat vet, you're not getting a dime from the VA, and we're saying you deserve, we can't guarantee you're going to get 100%, but you're just saying 4,000, 4,800, 48,600. Oh, multiply that by 40 more years times 40 years of living. Oh, 1.9 million.
Yeah.
Oh, then no taxes on your house. Oh, your kids going to college for free. Oh, medical benefits for your wife. Oh, not paying tags on your car. Oh, more medical benefits for you. Yeah, I mean, what I tell people, becoming 100% permanent total from the VA is like becoming a VA millionaire. All right.
It's a good way to put it.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
think about that because all of the benefits,
Yeah.
and nobody can guarantee you're going to get that. No one can. But I'm saying the possibilities are there. And in the civilian world, we invest in the stock market with no guarantees because of the possibility.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got to write that down. Son, that was off the top of my head. I need to write that down for the next podcast. That was pretty good. Right?
Yeah, it was.
Right? We invest in stuff not because there's a guarantee, but my God, there's a possibility that I can get this if I get involved in this.
Mhm.
The possibilities are there. But if you don't get involved and go off your benefits, it's zero.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
mm.
I,
Craig, I'm
you know,
getting myself fired up, man, but go ahead, son.
oh yeah, and I appreciate what my dad shared, and the other part of this is comparing what vets go through to me as a civilian or any civilian.
Yeah.
I talk to veterans a lot of the times, and they'll tell me and talk about the things they've gone through. And a lot of times, vets will compare yourself to other vets. They'll compare themselves to the vet who's been through the worst, who's been through an explosion, who may be missing some limbs,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's not what VA benefits are about. It's not about the person who's in the worst position. It's about veterans who've signed their life away to their country, who've gone through things the average civilian will never go through or see, and it leaves you in a certain place health wise that hey, you're disabled, you have a handicap there that if you hadn't served you wouldn't have, and the VA is set up to deal with that handicap. Now it may not be, oh, you're handicapped to the point where you can't do anything, you can't work, but the injuries you've gone through, the things that you've seen, they have an impact on you that make it a little bit more challenging compared to yourself had you not gone through those things. And a lot of times they don't think about that. They're always comparing themselves to the worst situation. And let me go help the person over here who's missing a leg, right? And so yeah, talk about the mindset, talk about possibilities, like my dad was saying. What you've earned. It's what you've earned. At the end of the day, is what the veterans have earned.
What you're saying is absolutely ringing true with me because now I'm thinking about some personal accounts. My best friend, his uncle he served in Bosnia during the genocide, which was it was a peacekeeping mission. He was part of the Canadian Forces, and he saw a lot of stuff. He
Right.
has a bad case of PTSD. Few, not guys that he was personally friends with, but some guys were butchered in front of him. And he just says all the time. I mean, I see him every year at barbecues in my friend's backyard. He doesn't want to accept any services. He clearly has PTSD. He's suffering, and I mean, it's been a long time since he had served, and he keeps to himself. And I clearly remember him saying once, there's guys who deserve it more than me. Don't need to really seek any of these. He calls it additional services. Because, of course, here in Canada, we have universal health care, but it doesn't cover a lot of things. And for veterans, we have a specific place that you go for this, but he doesn't partake. So it's, all the things that you're saying, I guess I have encountered this
Yeah.
with a few. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I tell veterans when they meet with me on Zoom nicely? I say, let me crack your head open.
Yeah.
See, because I'm a veteran. Another vet can talk to a vet. I
Mm.
mean, look, man, stop. And I just tell them, stop. Stop. You've earned these benefits.
Yeah.
Period. I said, oh no, stop. And what I always tell them too, Craig, can I save you from you?
Mm.
Is it okay that I save you from yourself?
Yeah.
Because right now you don't believe it, you need saving. And I need to be saved. I needed someone, which was my wife, to look at me and say no. Because I would start going, I would get frustrated, I would quit, I would start, I would stop.
Mm.
I can remember I finally made it to 40% in year 15 out of the military.
Yeah.
And I wasn't pursuing any more benefits. I was at 40%. And we get ready to go to church one Sunday. I'll never forget. I put my shoes on and I literally stood up. I bent down to tie my shoes. And when I bent down to tie my shoes, my back
Back
gave out.
lock. Mm.
Boom. And now I'm laying on the carpet with tears coming out of my eyes.
Yeah.
It was the first time I lost control of my body.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be an athlete. Yeah. I worked out my whole life. I go to the pool. I was in the pool this morning at 5 a.m. getting it in. No,
5
I
a.m.
can't run and do the stuff I used to do, but man, I'm still getting it in where I can get it in, going swimming and stuff like that. So for a guy to consider himself to be a top athlete and a Green Beret and a Ranger and to do all this hard, super hard stuff physically to your back going out and now you're on the carpet, it was humbling
Yeah.
and it scared the mess out of me. Let me tell you why. I looked at myself and I said, if you keep being stupid, what if you're in a wheelchair in 10 years, dude?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'm talking to myself. I'm like, my back just gave out. What if I'm in a wheelchair? Who's gonna take care of my wife if
Yeah.
I'm in a dadgum wheelchair for being stupid? I'm talking to myself for being stupid and not going after my benefits. It was the last time from that at 15 years out, I started busting my butt the next 2 years to get to 100%. That's when yeah, for first 15, I stop. I made it to, okay, I'm at 40%. Probably not going to get any more. Probably not going to get any more. But when my back went out that Sunday morning, I, I said, I got to do something. It scared the mess out of me. All right.
Yeah.
And,
And
and that's the reality.
so when it comes to this situation, let's say I'm in the situation, I don't know where to start. I look at your website, I go to free consultation. That's the first step. I speak
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. You book a consultation, you get on a call with us, one of our coaches, to really go through you, right? Right when you're booking that consultation, after you book it, you're going to be sent to a page to do a VA benefits assessment. And it asks about 60 or so questions,
Okay.
uh, kind of going through what's common amongst vets. There are over 800 issues you can be compensated for with the VA. But we asked a lot of about 60 or so questions common amongst vets, and we tie that in to the regulation and what your rating could be. I'm telling you, it astonishes so many vets when they're like, "Oh my gosh, I should be way over 100% because of everything I have on my body."
Yeah.
And and pretty much they get on that consultation. We talk through that assessment. We talk through the process. We give a lot of great input. We want to give value. You get 45 minutes to get value. We talk through your history, your injuries, what you would need to do, next steps for your particular case, and give some information. Now, we've had people who kind of get on those consultations and leave it and take that information and run with it and get their benefits on their own. And we're like, hey, if you do it, please. And like you said, we're not the only organization that can help vets. There are plenty of organizations out there, American Legion, nonprofits. I'm gonna name a bunch of them, but there are a bunch of organizations that you can use, and they may be able to help you out. What we do is we educate, we teach. So from that consultation, they can join our course, the
Mhm.
Ranger Method course. They can also join coaching. We have different options for them to go from there. And depending on the time, it may be different pricing and different like that. But pretty much you pay for an online course with us, or you can get coaching where you have delayed payment with that as well. And so that's kind of what we offer. So, but yeah, I would say step number one, book a consultation with us, talk to us, help us to give you some good information to make sure your case is strong moving forward.
And then moving forward, like you said, the comprehensive online courses. And you even,
Mhm.
I can see here you have private veteran community so that, you can feel like you're not alone in this. You've got others going through maybe an identical situation, learning together about the things that you didn't know, maybe you could get from the VA. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these individuals have heard from friends, from, other veterans, the typical things that you can receive, but you don't know what you don't know. So it's a learning experience to be sure. And there's probably a lot of reading, I imagine, going through all of this. And I would imagine this is a very intimidating situation for them when they're approaching this. But you, like you keep saying, you're holding their hand throughout the whole process. You have a personal touch. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
I can't say from the bottom of my heart. It's amazing what you're doing for these veterans, and I'm really glad you exist because
Thank you.
I can't imagine all the families out there that are suffering needlessly. They should be getting these services that
Yeah.
they have earned, you know.
Yeah. You know, what we tell vets, Craig, all the time, and I'll kind of wind down is, listen, we hold your hand and we give you the answers to the test. And I said, all the figuring's been figured, man. Ain't nothing for you to figure out, but get involved
Yeah.
because we know the daunting task of getting VA benefits. And, it would literally be like if you're in kindergarten, someone says, hey, you got to get your PhD. Oh
Yeah.
my God, what? I'm in kindergarten, I got to get a PhD. That's climbing the VA mountain. But then we say, we know every step of the way. We're going to show you what to do. All you have to do is be honest and follow instructions. Can you do that? And most veterans know they can follow instructions. Yeah, I can follow instructions. Great. We've helped vets. We just helped a vet up in Washington State that got out of the Army in 1966.
Whoa.
10% disability. Get this again. I've been out too long. Oh, he got out of the Army in 1966.
Oh my God.
We helped him go from 10 to 100%. Okay. Not only did he get to 100%, him and his wife got $60,300 back pay. You heard that right too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
$60,300 back pay. And now we're helping them get some more benefits because she has to take care of her husband. Okay. And now she's going to get in the VA CARES program, and the VA is actually going to pay her to take care of her husband. She has to drive around, and he can't drive himself.
Yeah.
That's another part of the benefits package that they didn't even know about.
You-
Anyway,
You're not doing it just for you in these cases. You brought it up multiple times. You're doing it for your loved ones, for your
yeah,
wife. She's got to go through this too with you. This,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But anyway, hey, I got a call at the top of the hour. So, man, I'm enjoying this call, but man, we may could regroup at another date. So it's been wonderful.
Absolutely. Hey, it's been wonderful meeting both of you, father and son. And I got to say, to anybody who's watching this, maybe you're a veteran, maybe you're a family member, a friend of a veteran, please, if you're going to check out somebody for these services, go to these two gentlemen. They're going to give you the personal touch. They're going to hold your hand the whole way. So, a big thanks to both of you and continue on.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks for having us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, vets, I like to say you stay in the fight.
There you go.